What's up, everybody? It's Friday. Welcome to Vibe for Five Friday. You already know what time it is.
It's time to get stroked up. So how was your day or how was your week? Because they all look the same to me.
We always talk about being transparent, so, I can only be that. It's been a frustrating week for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, frustrating week. I'm human. It happens. So I'm not going to get on here and act like everything's peaches and cream because it's not sometimes, No. Sometimes you have to let the energy flow. And sometimes, like I tell you guys, even when you're not having a great week, you have to pray, you have to meditate, take it one moment at a time, one day at a time, month at a time, whatever. You got to get through it and keep moving.
I love that because one of the things I think about when I talk to myself, just in case we're afraid of it, one breath at a time.
Yeah.
If we cannot value a breath, man, we're missing life.
Right. Life is not going to always be easy. This week, period, I found myself back to that episode expectation. You can't expect things from people. And sometimes when you do, you find yourself in a place, you expect people to be like you. And everybody's not going to be like you. They're on their own journey. They have their own focus. And their focus is usually on self, elevating self, going, on the path that they have for themselves. So you can't get tangled up into that. You pray about it. You get frustrated. You talk to God. And when you really get down to it, God is really showing you to be okay with those moments still, still be you. Because it kind of makes you want to, retract yourself and not be that person that you are, that kind, loving person.
Man, I got to make you, you brought me to something. Matthew chapter 6, the Lord's Prayer. One translation says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
So how far does that go, though? Like, forgive us our debts.
Well, there's another biblical passage that says 77 times, but that's a whole nother story. We'll have to get back to that one because, see, multiplication and deductions are a real thing in life.
So God gives us tests, and he gives it to you over and over until you pass it. So when there come a point when that other person or those other people are being tested as well, how far did you go? How long does that journey go? Would you sitting there and maybe the test is to, back away?
I don't know. Seek the understanding.
Seek the understanding?
Well, that's supposed to be about what we're about.
Right.
So when we go back to that passage about, forgive us our debts, we're all in debt, so to speak. The very moment we start walking the face of this earth, as fallible people, we're going to make mistakes. Now, it's up to us. Our ideology can control a lot about us if we're not careful.
Even the same ones, though? Like, if you have someone and you say people are human and they make mistakes and you dealing with individuals that's making the same mistakes over and over and over, how long does it go before, that forgiveness stuff just, goes out the window?
I guess at the end of the day, it depends on what it is.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only way I can answer that. I mean, because if we don't know what each problem is, as people, as we identify something, is something small, is something great, or we measuring by our own standard, our own expectation, as you mentioned.
What if you measure about if it's coming up over and over again? Not about how big, how small. I mean, something small, eventually you have something small. Let's say you have a pebble and you fill a cup up with these pebbles. Eventually that cup is going to overflow with those pebbles, no matter how big or small they are. It's the same size pebble over and over.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. You made me think about, what is it, a clam or something like that? Where this irritation starts to exist, right? So it might start off small, and next thing you know, it turns into a jewel. A pearl, I think is what they say comes from that, that irritation that we're referencing. Okay. So I guess at the end of the day, it depends on our perspective.
I think my biggest thing comes from my word is bond. When I say something, I do it. I mean, people know that about me. If they ask me to do something, 9 times out of 10 is going to be done. I'm probably thinking about them before I think about myself. I have to have this done. I got to make sure it's done because, I put my stamp on it. I put my word. I think it represents who I am. And then it's frustrating when you run into people and, they don't think that way. So like I said before, you keep praying to God, you pray to God, and things never change. So I guess God is really saying to you, you got to learn to move on with life and be yourself regardless. You still got to be you. And that's the hardest part. Right there.
Being you.
Still being me in spite of what others are doing.
Right.
And you're supposed to show love.
Right. Because, one of the greatest things that we have to understand for ourselves is we can't let anything or anyone rob us of being loving, being kind, being respectful. But at the end of the day, that does not make us naive. We got to go right back to that. That does not make us ignorant people. It does not.
Right.
But those virtues, those qualities should trump anything.
Right. But I do hope you guys had a great week. I mean, like I say, we being transparent here. I hope your week is great. If it wasn't great, you know what to do, man. I mean, look at me, bearing my soul on here. You know, usually energy is high, and I'm still good. You know, I'm processing. We go through what we go through. We tell you guys all the time, whatever emotions you feel them. You communicate them. You get them out, man. And that's what I did on this mic. This mic is like therapy for me.
It's an expression.
Yeah, it's an expression. I'm happy to have it. God did bless me with this. My voice.
Well, you know, one of the most beautiful things that we should understand about living in this world and living this life before we, you know, come too fast with this information.
Okay.
is that we have to allow ourselves to understand that there is no judge walking the face of this earth.
So what do you mean? Because there's no judge, you know, we're people walking the face of the earth. God's still a judge too, right?
Right, but he don't walk on the earth.
Well, you know
unless
what I mean.
he walked through us. And at that point, I say something as simple as this. Always answer to him, and you'll find a higher purpose.
They say your focus is supposed to be strictly on God, and all the outside stuff shouldn't matter, but we're human, and sometimes that the outside stuff comes inside of that pathway, man, that tunnel that you have between you and God, and I guess that's the real ultimate test. And trust me, I'm going to get down to it. I'm doing that shadow work, and I'm going to pass the test, because if you don't, he's going to give it to you over and over again.
We have no choice but to live life. And guess what? We got to answer to it.
At the end of the day, you already know. And you guys know what just happened to you in 6 minutes instead of 5.
What?
Yes.
Well, that's what happens when you get us carried away.
I guess.
Before you know it, you know what they call that, right?
What?
Hey, man, we'll be real quick.
Oh, quick?
Like a quickie.
Oh, God.
And then before you know it, you're carried away.
Before you know it, you just got stroked up. Bye.